Good morning, children, and welcome to all of you in online classes. Dear students, we are discussing the fifth chapter of Vistas book, and the name of chapter is Should Wizard Hit Mummy? Dear students, yesterday I taught you about the summary of this lesson, and today I am going to tell you and teach you the explanation of this chapter Should Wizard Hit Mummy, line by line. Dear students, this particular lesson Should Wizard Hit Mummy was written by one of the famous, renowned and popular writers of English literature, or his name is John Updike. Mr. John Updike was born on 18th March 1932 in America, or he worked as a novelist, as a story writer, and as a poet also. Mr. John Updike got many awards and prizes for his excellent contribution in the field of literature, or he got Pulitzer Prize twice in 1982 and 1990. Or he was very much inspired by his mother. Or finally, dear children, Mr. John Updike died on 27th June 2009. This was all about the writer of the lesson, Mr. John Updike. This story, Should Wizard Hit Mummy, is about the relation of children with their parents. Children's fantasies and the messages of a story they bring with them affect children and sometimes make them critical also. So it is about the conflicting views of parents and children. Parents think in their own way about the future of children, or children have their own aspiration and own objectives of their lives. Dear students, in this story Should Wizard Hit Mummy, the central character and hero of the story is Roger, or the person who used to tell the story. His name is Jack. Mr. Jack used to tell the story to his daughter Jo in the evenings and for Saturday's naps. And in the same custom and in the same tradition today, he was going to tell one more story to his daughter Jo. Dear students, Jack told many stories to his daughter Jo, or he was creating the stories by himself and creating the characters of the story, and finally he was narrating and telling to his daughter Jo. Or this tradition of this custom of telling stories, dear students, began when Jo was only 2 years old. Every Saturday he used to tell the stories to his lovely daughter Jo. Or this custom tradition started when she was 2 years old. Now Jo has become 4 years. She was 4 years old. So all the stories which were in the mind of Mr. Jack, they were almost finished. So that he used to tell the same content and same story every time. There was a slight variation only. Each time here is given, each new story was having a slight variation of a basic tale. In every story, the main character is same, only there is a change in title of the character. Dear students, the main character of the story is always Roger. What the story which he used to tell Jack used to tell his daughter Jo, in every story the central character is Roger. Sometime he used to create the story on the name of Roger Chipmunk. Sometimes he used to create the story and tell the story name Roger Fish, and sometimes he used to tell and create the story name Roger Squirrel. And the content is almost same. So the daughter was well aware about the way of telling stories of her father, that how he will tell the story, because she has listened many stories from her father, or she finally concluded in her mind that all the stories are similar, only there is a slight change in their title. So she was knowing that what will happen next. One more thing I want to tell you, dear children, the main character which is created by Mr. Jack in every story, that is Roger, or that main character and hero of the story, Roger, had a problem. Every time, in every story, the main character Roger had some problem. Dear students, or every time he is trying to discuss, and he was trying to discuss about his problems, or for his problem Roger was very much sad. But every time, dear students, Roger used to go to the wise old owl. Here, Roger had problem and went wise old owl. So in every story, it happened. कि the main character either Roger skunk or Roger chipmunk or Roger squirrel or Roger fish, it had some problem. Or with the problem, firstly it used to go to the wise old owl. Or wise old owl listened his problem. Either it is Roger chipmunk or it is Roger squirrel or it is Roger fish. Or after listening the problem, the wise old owl is not in position to give the solution at once. He is not in position, he is not able to solve the problem of Roger. But it is the system of Mr. Jack's story. That firstly the created character will go to the wise old owl. Or that wise old owl will send that character, dear children, the wise old owl will send the Roger to the wizard. Wizard is magician. Or he knows magic. He is experts of magic. He knows many things about magic. So finally the created character Roger firstly, dear children, goes to Mr. Wise Old Owl, and then after according to his suggestion, then he visits to wizard, that magician. Or the magician, when after reaching there, Roger used to tell his problem, whatever was his problem. Either it is the problem of Roger squirrel, or it is the problem of Roger fish, or it is the problem of Roger chipmunk. In every story, that Roger used to discuss the problem with wizard. Or that wizard, after listening the problem, he tried to give the solution. Or for that, dear children, wizard performed magic spell. He performed some magic formulas. Or with that magic spell, with that magic formulas, Mr. Wizard is able to solve the problem of that Roger character created by Mr. Jack in every story. One more thing I want to tell you, dear children. Or after solving the problem, then he used to demand money also. But it happened every time in every story that the character Roger had less money in his pocket. Roger, that wizard demanded suppose 7 pennies, so that Roger had 4 pennies. To solve that problem, that economical problem also, Mr. Wizard used to tell him the way, and he used to instruct him to go to the magic well. There was one magic well. Or from there, the Roger used to go after solving his problem every time to that magic well, or from there he used to bring money, and only that much amount he used to bring. Or after that, dear children, he used to give to the wizard. And then the problem was solved. Or after that, the Roger used to play with the other creatures, play with the other animals. And when it is the time of evening, it used to go to his home, and there he used to enjoy the dinner with his parents. And the narrator of the story, the storyteller, Mr. Jack, used to describe about the dishes also. He used to give the detailed description of the dishes which were enjoyed by the Rogers family. That it happened in every story, dear children. In the same way, dear children, today also, on the day when the writer suppose narrated the story, on that day also, dear children, the Jo was waiting that her father will tell a new story. She was expecting, she was hoping that her father will tell her a new story. But as I have discussed and told you, this tradition of telling a story continued for last 2 years. So Mr. Jack's head was empty. Or he was knowing very well that the daughter is well aware about the character. So to inquire and ask about that Saturday character, he asked to his daughter, who shall be the story be about today. So the daughter, who is now 4 years old, she finally started thinking, and she told one new character, and it was Roser Skunk. Or she read about the Roser Skunk at nursery school. So the idea of this Roser Skunk came. Roser is common in every story, but this skunk title came in the mind of daughter Jo as she read about this skunk at nursery school. So finally, the father decided to tell the story about this new character, Roser Skunk. Or he started telling the story. Dear students, what happened in this new story, how father narrated this new story to his lovely daughter Jo, what was the question asked by Jo while telling the stories, what doubts and confusions came in the mind of Jo while her father was telling her stories. Dear students, we will discuss about all in tomorrow's video. Today we have discussed only what was the tradition, what was the custom, how Jack was telling the story, when this tradition and custom started, which character he created in the story, what was the consequence of that story. We discussed only about the previous stories told by Mr. Jack to his daughter Jo. In tomorrow's lecture, we will discuss about the new story, the story of Roser Skunk. What is the problem with that new character? We will discuss tomorrow. I hope, dear children, you have understood. Thank you.